Hi, everyone. Meteorologist Bill Rentschler and meteorologist Carmelo Latuca in the 1011 Now streaming studio. Another edition of the Weather Academy. Today, Carmelo, we were talking about historical Nebraska tornadoes.
We'll go through some more in-depth cases on each of these tornadoes. One over 100 years ago, one just a few months ago.
And for some perspective, around 3,000 or so tornadoes officially in the record books, and we're just picking out, again, 7 of them. So there's a lot.
At least some of the stronger ones.
Yeah, some of the stronger ones, some of the more noteworthy ones. You have to start with the strongest ever, though.
Yes.
The only F5 tornado to ever strike the state of Nebraska. That was May 5th, 1964. Winds of over 260 miles an hour with this tornado.
Not only that, but about a quarter of a mile in width, and numerous farms completely destroyed by this tornado.
And I think noteworthy, only a quarter of a mile in width.
Yes, we've seen tornadoes much larger than that.
Yeah, and be a lot less intense than this one. So again, that's the only F5 that we've ever had in the state of Nebraska. If you go back over 100 years ago, though, F4 tornado, the Easter tornado is what it's called, March 23rd, 1913. This is one of the deadliest tornadoes to ever strike the state of Nebraska. Unfortunately, over 100 people were killed, many of them in Omaha, but surrounding communities, Utin, Meade, Berlin, DeSoto, Nahaka, Craig, unfortunately were impacted by this tornado.
Before record-keeping this tornado, but, probably lack of sirens, the way buildings were constructed probably went along with just how devastating this particular one was.
Another Omaha tornado, 1975, May 6th. Again, this is the tornado a lot of people remember because it hit the hospital there, Bergen Mercy, in Omaha. There was damage to the hospital that was done. Again, unfortunately, there were several people, 3 people who were killed by this tornado, but another F4 tornado that struck Omaha.
Winds over 200 miles per hour estimated, so pretty intense wind speed there.
Number 4, again, this is probably one a lot of people have heard of, or maybe they've read the book, but the Night of the Twisters, June 3rd, 1980, Grand Island tornadoes. There was 7 tornadoes in about 3 hours that kind of started just northwest of town, really hit northern, eastern Grand Island, before it kind of pushed off to the south and east of Grand Island.
Probably one of the more unique tornado events, not only in the state of Nebraska, but within the weather community itself. We're talking about 7 tornadoes, less than 3 hours, and they were all basically moving stationary.
And you had some that were spinning counterclockwise, some that were spinning clockwise. So just a very unique meteorological event. Unfortunately, 5 people were killed, about 200 injured, and it did about nearly $300 million in damage, and that's $1980.
Goodness.
So number 5, a little bit more recent. Again, a lot of people in Lancaster County certainly remember this one, but the Hallam tornado, F4, at the time this happened, was the widest tornado ever observed in the United States, 2.5 miles wide at its widest point.
Almost on the ground for 2 hours. Traveled 52 miles, hundreds of houses either seriously damaged or completely destroyed, and thousands of acres of cropland damaged as well.
And you had one person who was unfortunately killed and about 40 people who were injured in the Hallam tornado. And this is, again, look at the path starting near Dakin, traveling through northern Saline County, southern Lancaster, finishing in far western Odo County right before it pushed into the Palmyra area. Number 6, northeast Nebraska 10 years ago, June 16, 2014, you had the Pilger tornadoes. You had 4 EF4 tornadoes that struck in a very small area.
Only a few counties in difference, from west to east, north to south as well. And we had 2 EF4 tornadoes near Pilger on the ground at the same time, both 500 yards in width, with wind speeds up to or greater than 200 miles per hour as well.
And again, this was the last tornado complex or outbreak that we had tornado-related fatalities in the state of Nebraska. So again, unfortunately, there were some fatalities with this complex, but it's been that long since we've seen any tornado-related fatalities. We're lucky we didn't see any fatalities with our last event here.
Incredibly
April
lucky.
26th, the Arbor Day tornadoes. We had 25 tornadoes across the entire state. Obviously, a couple of those were pretty noteworthy. Again, the Lincoln and Waverly tornado hit northeastern Lancaster County, northeastern Lincoln and northeastern Lancaster County. An EF3 estimated wind speeds of 158 miles an hour, and now the EF4 Elkhorn, Bennington, and Blair tornado.
Absolutely. Famously, the Lincoln one crossed over I-80. A lot of people on the road at that time, going very slow. Damaged the, what building was it again, Bill?
The Garner Industries.
Garner Industries building, yes. Very famous video there. And the Elkhorn tornado, on the ground for almost an hour, 31 miles in distance, 170 mile per hour wind speeds.
And again, no fatalities, which is just incredible for a tornado that
size.
A
miracle at that point.
To be going through such a hugely populated area. So that is the good news from that tornado. So those, I think, were the biggest, the most noteworthy, again, tornadoes that we've seen in the state of Nebraska. Again, that's our top 7. So appreciate you all for tuning in. As always, keep tuned to 1011, both on air and online, for all of your latest news, weather, and sports.